Welcome to No Question About That. I'm Ed with Daniel today talking about Manchester United 2, Sunderland 0. A victory, Daniel.
Yeah, what team?
What a team. Are you Schmeichel in disguise was the chant from the Stretford end about Senne Lemmens, who did fine. We'll get onto him. I'm not sure. Well, I guess that's a reflection of the desperation. Everyone has to have someone who's not an absolute lemon in goal. So let's talk about it. Pressure eased a little bit on Ruben Amorim going into the international break. What do you make of the performance?
Well, afterwards he said something like, I can't remember what the exact quotation was, we should play, they need to play this way in every game. And I thought, no, they don't. It was a bit better. Like the first 10 weren't great. It was not bad for the rest of the first half after that. But then they changed, for about 20 minutes in the middle of the first half, then they changed formation. And it became harder for us again, and the second half wasn't great. On the other hand, you could say it was a routine win, I guess.
Yeah.
And there were certain improvements. I guess we could start with the team.
Yeah, I think everyone wanted to see Ahmad in the team, just a bit more attacking. I don't think anyone wanted to see Diallo at left back or left wing back. No one needs to see that ever again. Casemiro back in made a lot of sense. Leny Yoro back in made a lot of sense, and obviously I guess the big decision to play Senne Lemmens ahead of Altay Bayindir. Ruben Amorim tried to brush it off as just rotation, but he's the number one now, isn't he? Surely. He didn't make any mistakes. Apart from that, he dashed out with Bruno Fernandes and who was it, Traore in the second half, and Traore dived, which kind of saved him from having an embarrassing moment there. But everything else did cleanly. Caught the ball a few times, made 3 saves.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the number one, but I know for sure that Bayindir is number 2.
Yeah.
And I think that the defenders felt more comfortable with him. That was how it looked.
He's proactive. Like, he's not a flapper, is he? He comes out, he's a big lad, he comes out, tries to catch the ball, he seems communicative and all of that stuff. Bigger tests to come, he didn't face a lot of stuff to do.
No, but what he did do, as he said, I thought for a second he was going to he got himself sent off. Like on first viewing, I kind of thought he got himself sent off there. But that aside, yeah, he did what he needed to do without making a fuss. And we've been saying on here for weeks, if we had a merely shit goalkeeper, not the shittest goalkeeper ever, yeah, having a merely competent goalkeeper, because it is a weird thing that we're in crisis and it's terrible and this, that and the other. But Bruno scores those 2 penalties and we just have a bit of competence in goal and we're actually very handily placed. And I'm not trying to what about this. I know we're not good. What I'm saying is I don't feel like we're as dreadful or as miles off as people think we are. I think if he gets the team and the tactics right, and then a couple of signings and we could be quite good.
Well, one of the changes, apart from the personnel changes, was Mount coming in makes a change, but also when United were defending, they just dropped back into 5-3-5-1-1, I guess it was. And Brian Mbeumo went to right wing back, and Mason Mount went over to the left, and it just looked a bit more competent defensively from that point of view. The other big change that happens when Casemiro is in midfield is he just has a really restricted role these days, and Bruno's the player further up the pitch. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous against Brentford where MUFC is the counter-presser. He's pushing up the field and Bruno's taking the ball off the back 3. Fucking madness. One of the world's greatest number 10s and you're having him take the ball off Harry fucking Maguire. No thanks.
Yeah,
at least they changed that this time round.
Yeah, I was pleased to see Yoro come in for Harrents also, just because if we've got this idea of trying to become good over the next couple of seasons, Harrents is not part of that.
He's not.
And I wrote something for The Guardian, like just five tweaks for Amorim, and that was I was making this point that we're trying to get good, and one of the things that Amorim does is he needs to be braver, and what sometimes the decision he makes that he thinks is the conservative decision or the safe decision is actually more dangerous because United's best players are at the top of the pitch.
Yep.
And so I don't ever want to see 2 defenders at wing back ever again. And we're going to Anfield soon. I want that. You have to play Ahmad in that game. He's not the greatest defender ever, but you need another attacker in the team. You need to appreciate what the strengths of this squad are. And I mean, we're not great at creating, but we might get better, and we'll come to reasons why that might happen. But if the only attackers really that you've got are the 2 10s, the 9, and then Bruno playing deep, that's not going to be enough.
It's not enough.
So
I think you're right. Yeah, I think Ruben's instincts, at least like his reaction to failure at United, has become a bit conservative, and it really rarely ever works out for him, as you say.
And it's not practical. It's not. There's the safe options can be attacking options. It's not just going defensive is not safe if you can't defend.
Leny Yoro, I was just looking up some of the data. He has made the most progressive actions of any under-23 defender in Europe, and that is carrying the ball or passing the ball, right? So he helps our attack in a way that Harry doesn't. For all his decent passing, for Maguire, he's a bit slow with it, and he doesn't like carrying the ball out. And this kind of ridiculous notion that Amorim has invented, that in order to fix our problem in midfield, where we don't have enough players, because every single side has pointed out verbally how they've managed to overload us in midfield. So Ruben's fix for that was to push a defender into midfield when United are building up, and it just hasn't worked at all. And so his fix for that fix has been to go long. And Senne Lemmens, looking this one up, went long 33 times yesterday. United made 60 long passes overall. They're quite a long ball side now. We have to, that's what they've become, right? In order to fix the problem with the fact that we can't build up, we're just going very, very direct to the 3 forwards and fighting for second balls. Not Ruben Lebris. What's he called? Lebris.
Yeah.
Regis Lebris said they went very long, fought for second balls, but there's nothing we could do about it, is what he said afterwards.
Well, I was surprised he said that, because they're quite physical, but Sesko is very, very good at that. I mean, it should be an option. It should be the only option. And it's also interesting as well, because Mount's come in now, and does it look like we've got a better balance with Mount in the team? Maybe.
Defensively, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so it could indeed be the case that of the 3 players, the 3 attackers we bought this summer, we're only going to see 2 of them on the pitch at one time. But I mean, we can't say didn't get the team right. I guess we won, beat a team who are playing well, who have had a good start, who are confident. So it wasn't terrible, which I guess is progress.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Sunderland tried a few of those longer balls into the channel that was very successful for Brentford last week. Yoro with his pace just seemed to, even though he's not as good in the air, at least his aerial win rate is not that high compared to the other players. He's just much more comfortable in those positions.
Although, what I find, the more I've watched these like the outside centre-backs, if we think about what he's asking them to do, he's asking them to defend the channels, so they've got to be fast and strong. He's asking them to carry the ball forward, so they've got to be able to dribble, run with the ball. They've got to have a trick. He's asking them to hit big switches, so they've got to be able to pass. They've got to punch passes into midfield, so they've got to be able to hit those, see those passes and hit those passes. And also, really, you want one of them at least augmenting the attack some of the time. Mm-hmm. If you've got players that can do all of that, why the fuck do you need 3 of them? Like, are you seriously telling me that if you've got 2 players who can do all of those things well, you can't have 2 centre-backs and play another midfield player? It doesn't make sense.
I mean, he's caused many of his own problems, Amorim has, and taken a very long time. In a 50th game, he won on his 50th game, the first Manchester United manager to win on the 50th game since Alex Ferguson was a pointless stat that was going around. Not a thing.
Talking of ex-United managers, you know what I was thinking yesterday when I saw the Caicedo goal? They tried to get us Caicedo, Bellingham and Haaland for fuck all when they were available for nothing. They got him none. They got him out of that ilk of signing. And it's just... Yeah, I mean, it really, it beggars belief, that whole that they weren't able to land any of those 3.
None of them. Yeah, Ollie gave them on a plate. They'd have been there for... Well, Bellingham was the harder one because he was put off by Ed Woodward showing him around Carrington, I think. So, but... And United now don't have a good reputation for developing young players, unfortunately. Just don't. There's been hardly any over the last 10 years, and we've managed to drive a few of them out of the club for different reasons. and all of that as well. Kobbie Mainoo, 14 minutes yesterday. He'll be the next one to go. He can't possibly stay at United if this is the long-term future, but that's another thing. So what do you make of Sesko then? His second goal in a row. Thought he was pretty good overall. I mean, his first few, I think he had 4 or 5 of his first touches that kind of bounced off him. He seemed to come into the game after that. A few passes went astray or he didn't control it properly, and then got better as the game went on. Obviously scored a very Sesko-like goal, I imagine. He's going to get a few of those this season. Pretty good after getting his 1.5 XG for his goal last week. He had shooting 3 times or whatever it was. But yeah, so, not bad. It feels like we've got a forward there that at least is pretty comfortable with playing the way that Amorim wants in a way that Højlund wasn't.
Yeah, I love that goal. The same as I said I loved this goal last week, because these are the goals that we haven't been getting. Proper just strikers' goals, a flick on, he's there in the right place, he's composed, and he puts in, and he sticks in the side netting. And those are the kind of goals, like scrappy goals, that we need. And I felt like he did look a bit of a donkey in the first few games. I was trying really, really hard to try and find something good to find in them, and it wasn't easy. But he said himself in his interview, I think, took a while to get up. The pace and the physicality is different to what he's used to. He also, which he didn't say this, but it's also true, he wasn't really fit. And now we're seeing why we bought him, I think. And he's another one, incidentally, what they tried to get when he was a lot cheaper.
Yeah, United have been following him for a very long time, yeah.
I think, obviously, he can win the duels, he can win the long balls and the knockdowns. I thought, his first touch, as you say, it's not always good, but it is also sometimes really good, which is a big difference with Højlund, whose first touch wasn't good at all. And I'm pleased he's doing well. And I didn't really want to sell him because I felt like there was something there, but probably we didn't have that much option in order to be able to buy some players. Maybe it had to be done. I don't know. But I'm not turned by the fact that he's doing well in Italy, because it's a different thing.
No. My only issue with that really is not that his performances merited staying at the club, particularly that we went into another season with one striker.
Agree. We got Xerxes as well, but I think if you'd have offered me, if you'd have offered me, I could see why you might keep Xerxes, not him, and that Xerxes is a completely different option. Mm-hmm. But if you ask me which one I think is going to has the potential to go further in the game, it's not Xerxes, it's Højlund. But it doesn't mean that he will. But yeah, I quite liked Sesko's performance yesterday. You can see he's growing in confidence. And I also, in his interview, they said to him, "Are we starting to see the best of you now?" And he said, "No." There's a lot more to come, and I like that. I think he seems to have a good attitude, but is he a goth?
Is he a goth?
Well, just
I don't know.
The dyed black hair.
Yeah. It would be interesting. Well, if he comes out with some black lipstick or something, we'll know. And Robert Smith t-shirt, so it goes full emo.
But yeah, I think he's mentally, he seems to have the right stuff. We need to give him more crosses. If we get someone on that left wing who can cross, that will make a massive difference to him. Like flicks at the near post, headers, cutbacks, that kind of thing. Because you can see that he can be dominant in the air. And as you say, rigidity, Sesko, that they can't really compete with that. No one can really compete with him. He can, the jumping, the hang time, physicality it's all there. And so is also there was one counter that United made where he's just lanked half the pitch in 2 seconds.
Quick. Covers a lot of ground. Yeah, I really like the connectivity between Yoro, Ahmad, and Mbeumo, and then potentially Sesko as well. That looks pretty strong.
That should be a good triangle. That I agree.
It really should. If Ruben can just get out of his own way. On the other side, it's a bit more challenging. Obviously, Luke Shaw has had a okay-ish start to the season. A few defensive mistakes. He's in there for the passing connectivity. The challenge becomes Cunha has not been able to be consistent this season. Obviously, the injury, coming back from that, he played last week. I don't think he was fit properly. Trying to make that connectivity with Cunha and then Shaw and then not Mbeumo, Patrick Dorgu, who unfortunately, I know he's still really young, so let's not write him off yet. But the quality of stuff in the final third is pretty dreadful.
Did you happen to see West Ham Everton last week? Everton West Ham last Monday night.
I didn't watch it, no.
So West Ham have a left back.
Yeah.
That is exactly what we would like Dorgu to be. Just ridiculously strong and fast and brilliant at crossing.
Yeah. A lot of people talking about him, yeah.
Yeah, Alhaji Malik Diouf. He's younger than, he's 19. And like much quicker than Dorgu, stronger than Dorgu, and he can cross. But again, I keep saying it, Declan Rice couldn't cross like this two seasons ago. Right. He worked, and he's made himself able to do it. I don't understand how Dorgu hasn't got better at this.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, it depends whether they're working with him specifically on this stuff. I mean, it is the decision-making and the quality in the final third that's going to let him down. He does need to be better than this, otherwise United will have to find another option on the left side, because it's for sure as shit not Diogo Dallo. I know that, but I mean, it will be interesting next summer whether they do try to target those positions. Depends whether Ruben's in the job or not, because it becomes a very different role under almost every other manager on the planet. Yeah,
and I agree, by the way, what you said before about that triangle down the right, Yoro, Ahmad and Mbeumo. What we need to see, though, is we need rotations. Because if you think about it, Ahmad can play where Mbeumo can play, and Mbeumo can play where Ahmad can play. So I want to see them turning up in different places. And we're not really seeing too much of that. And there's another thing also that what I want to see is when the ball comes in field, passes, rather than going to feet, if you play a pass inside, that then, if you imagine the triangle, a pass that goes kind of into the stride of the player that's coming off the touchline, then if they hit it when they're on the move, it's much easier to beat players. It's much easier to pick passes than if you get the ball to your feet and then you have to generate all the pace yourself. Whereas, if they can just keep the ball moving and have players stepping inside into a moving ball, into the path of a moving ball, then I think that will also help. But the rotations are essential, because otherwise it's just too easy. It's so predictable.
Yeah, and United are more predictable going long 20% of the time, I think. I mean, it should be a good option. Unfortunately, it's become our principal build-up option, but we'll see whether that continues. It appears to be the case. This is Ruben's fix. I don't see how that's sustainable against top opposition. They'll eat that stuff up. But we'll see, right? United got a win. It was fairly comfortable. Didn't really give any chances away. Senne Lemmens didn't have to do much, and he was perfectly competent when he did. So, we can feel confident about that. And the pressure's relieved a little bit. I mean, our judgment of Ruben Amorim shouldn't be game to game, really, but inevitably it sort of becomes like that, doesn't it? With every defeat, everyone freaks out. More pressure on Ruben.
If we'd have lost that,
I hate that thing he said in the press conference before the game on Friday, whereas you guys, he's basically like, it's the thing that pissed me off most about Ten Hag. He never took responsibility for the results, and Amorim doesn't either. He either throws the players under the bus obliquely, or he blames the press.
He blamed the media this time, didn't he?
They're all reading you, they believe you more than me. I mean, well, if they believe the press more than you, fuck me, dude. You haven't got much gravitas, have you? And why are we at this point where it's like somebody else's fault? Come on. So I didn't like that. I thought he's become a bit more defensive this season. That's a factor of pressure, I imagine. And so this will relieve it. We at least don't get 2 weeks now of talking about how crap United are. We do have Anfield next. Fortunately, Liverpool keep losing as well, so they've just become Ten Hag's.
Well, we said Liverpool. We knew last season that they weren't good.
Yeah.
And the further they get away from Klopp, the more expected to happen is. And what they did was, it's like 500 million quid to make the team worse is quite funny.
Interesting, yeah.
And also, they spent money where they were already strong. I look at that team and I think, okay, well, you could get at that midfield, you can get at that defence, so let's buy some strikers. I mean, obviously, I guess they thought that they had an opportunity to buy both of those strikers this summer, so who knows when that opportunity...
Why not? Yeah, sort of thing.
When that opportunity...
Yeah, I mean, it's not obvious that TK is an upgrade on Ruben Diaz yet. Maybe I know they're slightly different players, but that's... Luis Diaz, yeah. Yeah. Van Dijk was interesting yesterday. He turned his back for the Caicedo goal.
Not for the first time, the greatest defender in the history of the world.
And he did not follow the ball in, did not follow the line in for the second goal either. So, I mean, I think he's been degrading quite fast. It's not the narrative that... It's kind of interesting. I wrote my Substack last week on pundits, and mainly I was focusing on ex-United players, but Liverpool have a bunch of cheerleaders in the media, and United have a bunch of moaners. I don't know why it's worked out like that. It just has. But I couldn't off the top of my head think of
maybe a
ex-United player who's kind of positive and cheerleading for the club. They're all moaning about it.
Because I think if you think about the eras that they played in, Carragher's watching teams that are better than the one he played in, or at least
true. Yeah,
and the United players are watching ones that are worse. So it's just they have different standards. United's players' standards and Carragher's, like players who played for United under Fergie when United was successful, could like have a much better idea of what it takes than Carragher does.
Sure,
I'd say. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's other things too as well, just personality types. And sometimes it sort of feels like that in the online environment as well, or like United, or just even in the grounds, feels like United fans more likely to be taking the piss out of the players, and Liverpool fans more likely to be sucking them off. And that feels quite reductive, but I guess it's something I think I've noticed over the years.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday the atmosphere was all right. I mean, Sesko talked about it. He said it was a fantastic atmosphere. He'd been waiting for this, and so on and so on, which is great. Yeah, good for him. First goal at Old Trafford, and hopefully it's one of many. The atmosphere in the ground has changed a lot over the years, and it being so bad for the last 3 years, really doesn't help either. It's certainly not going to help with all the pricing changes and that kind of stuff. It's just going to necessarily lead to more tourists coming in. But United could definitely do with Old Trafford being a place where it's upbeat and we're watching a winning team and all that kind of shit. But that is very much up to Ruben.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's meant to be fun, going to the football. And it doesn't have to be connected to success, but obviously when it is this dreadful, in the first few years after Fergie, the atmosphere was really, really good. I mean, I was definitely away from home, and it actually made me realise that good football was kind of antisocial, in that you kind of like was getting much more chatting done during the games once we became shit. But
Right.
But also it felt like we knew that the team needed some help. Didn't really work, but they did get a lot more help, it felt like, than Fergie's team got some of the time. Like one of the best United atmospheres that I can remember in all the time I've been going is Southampton away on a Monday night when Van Persie scores 2 under Van Gaal.
Right.
That's one of the best away-ins I've ever been part of, and it was, I think, partly because it felt like partly it was just Southampton on a Monday night. Everyone who's going to that is committed to it. Extra day of the weekend, extra bit of party, but also, felt like the players needed it.
All right. Well, there's a few other things happening this week. United women, I don't know whether you caught that game, played Chelsea, were very good in a 1-1 draw. Drew with Arsenal the week before, which was a bit scrappier. Unbeaten start to the season. Well, apart from that Champions League, the away leg qualifier, doing well. So at least we have a team doing well. Fallon Tullis-Joyce pulled off a couple of miraculous saves, probably the best keeper in the league at the moment. So that's upbeat. All United women fans that I'd spoken to moaning, as usual, about Mark Skinner and transfer activity this summer, but it seems to have worked out so far. I mean, it's quite a thin squad, so once they get into European football, this might change a little bit. So they don't really have any rotation options, especially in forward areas, but that's pretty positive. Under-18s won again, didn't they? And I think they're unbeaten this season under Darren Fletcher. There's some positivity there. Even Sir Jim's other sides. I think Nice drew this weekend and Lausanne won 5-0. So there you go. Good weekend for Sir Jim as well. He doesn't have to whip out any P45s or anything like that for any of his many managers. So that's all good. Then we go into the international break. Funnily enough, not that many, no England players. So Mainoo, Maguire, Shaw, not in the England squad. Unsurprisingly, there aren't that many United players actually going away. I think Casemiro was called up again, so that's unfortunate. Could do with him having a nice rest somewhere, but Mount wasn't in the England squad either. You'd think Thomas Tuchel had played with Mount before, and a Champions League winning side might like him, but.
I'm sure he does. He does like him. He actually drops him for his first game. It's a goal of the straw against Wolves. I remember saying at the time, so I was working on it, what on earth is he doing? And he doesn't do it again. And that was sort of felt like Mount's peak that season. But yeah, I mean, if he plays well, he'll get picked. I don't think that he could be picked on the strength of what's been seen so far.
No, definitely not. Yeah. And I mean, it's what drove Kobbie to think about leaving. The fact that there's a World Cup and he's not getting any game time, that's not going to change. I think it's pretty well established now that Maguire and de Ligt shouldn't play together at United. I mean, it's one or other. I think neither of them are comfortable in those wide centre-back areas. De Ligt's playing better than Maguire at the moment. Funny, for a guy who felt like he was a bit, I don't know, not that quick, he does cover ground pretty well. I think once he gets going, it's not the first 10 yards. De Ligt, that is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's okay. He didn't play well at Brentford, but he's actually been not bad this season, I don't think.
Yeah. England play Wales, is it? I think it's a friendly. No Bellingham was the big one from Tuchel there. We'll see how that goes. I mean, that's certainly going to take his ego down a peg or two, isn't it? Apparently quite large with Bellingham.
Is it? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know,
apparently, yeah.
I mean, I know he thinks he's a good player, but then he is a good player. In some ways, I found it quite refreshing. Like when he goes to Madrid and they're talking about all the players he was going to play with, and he goes, "Well, quite good myself." And I thought, fair enough. The thing I still don't like about Bellingham, and it's not really his fault, is where he's playing. I think like he can play as a number 10, but I don't think he's special as a number 10. But I think as someone who can do every facet of the midfield job, so as a number 8, I think he could be brilliant player. But
poor man, Scott McTominay, isn't he? So Scott, who actually, by the way, has been because De Bruyne has joined Napoli, he's been shifted out to the left wing under Conte. I'm not sure he's going to enjoy that quite as much. Probably won't be winning the Serie A MVP from there. All right, Anfield next weekend. Not next weekend, 2 weekends time. How are we feeling about that? It's you might have worried a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I guess we shouldn't go into one game feeling confident just because we managed to beat Sunderland at home. But Liverpool's problems are there for all to see, right? Their midfield can be got at. They're Ten Hag's team with better players.
Yeah, basically. I mean, we can hurt them. They have a Canate is not reliable. Van Dijk is not necessarily that reliable either. The fullbacks aren't reliable. And he's still looking for the blend. Salah, I mean, I wouldn't even just say it's this season. He won them the league with that burst for about half a season last season, but he hasn't been hot for 6 months now.
Yeah.
And that's not surprising given his age. It was never going to continue like that for years. So they can be got at. Hopefully we get at them, and hopefully we're brave. And hopefully it's not a Dorgu and Diallo day. Hopefully it's not a Maguire and De Ligt day. And if he's brave with the selection, so a team very similar to the one that played yesterday, United can beat Liverpool.
Yeah, that will be interesting with the selections. I mean, I agree with you. If I see Ahmad and Yoro in the team, I'm going to be feeling more confident. I know, and Lemmens, yeah, I know their weaknesses. I mean, Yoro's one's aerial. Liverpool aren't going to serve up too much of that stuff. They do have a lot of nippy forwards. Yoro's much more comfortable in those situations than Maguire is. Ahmad, of course, he's not a defender, right? So that does cause problems. But he also causes problems the other way, right?
And we've got 3 centre-backs.
And we've got 3 centre-backs, yeah.
And
so why do you need 5 of them?
Yeah, the wing-back on the other side will necessarily be a defender too, and Casemiro sitting in front. I mean,
it's enough, right?
It's enough, exactly. If you can't keep him away with that, then are you going to be able to with one more? Because also we've been playing with 5 defenders, and I still don't really think I know what the point is, because it doesn't really make us defensively strong. And what would make us defensively stronger is an extra man in midfield to keep the ball away from the defence. Even if the defence was good, you still want to keep the ball away from them. So Rio said that he realised he didn't like people running at him one-on-one, so he would tell the midfield players where to go to try and stop that from happening. And that's what the midfield was meant to do. Except ours doesn't do that because it's almost deliberately set up to not do that.
I mean, it won't do that. For as long as Ruben Amorim is at the club, we will always have one midfielder less.
Fewer.
Yes, you are, Daniel. Yes, as people on the internet keep pointing out. The fix yesterday was to drop Mount back into midfield, right, in the defensive transitions, right? And he will do that very well. When Cunha came on, Ruben Amorim was screaming at him. And if Amorim thinks that Cunha is going to be someone who does a lot of dropping back in defending, he didn't watch him at Wolves much, right? This is not a player who wants to... He will press high up the pitch, and he's actually very effective at that. He's not going to drop back into midfield to do the defensive stuff. Not naturally, anyway. If they want to coach him to do that, fine. But they didn't watch him, if that's what they think.
Well, there is kind of one solution to the outside centre-backs getting pinned problem, because is him dropping. And if he did do that...
Yeah, and make it a 4-4-2, basically.
You're kind of restricting him a little. I mean, we'll talk about that in the tactics pod. Like, United's out-possession structure seemed to change, which was to the better. It still wasn't great, but it was better. Because what Cunha gives you ball carrying. So... he's someone I wouldn't actually mind taking the ball off the back four, because I trust him to be able to turn out trouble. He's got the physicality and the feet to turn out trouble, and then the ability to carry the ball long distances. So actually, that like the piece that I mentioned, I gave a few solutions to the out possession structure. To the problem of the outside centre backs getting pinned, and one of them was dropping Cunha for that reason, that he can. Mm-hmm. He can carry the ball, and if he drops, then he does make. Then if the outside centre backs are pinned, then there's another man there to try and win the ball back. But yeah, the 4-4-2 out possession structure is better than the 3-1-6 or the 3-2-5 that we've been seeing before.
Yeah, we'll see at Anfield. The thing that won't work very well against Konate and Van Dijk is just the aerial stuff. I mean, I guess we could say, will Sesko have the better of that? They are both very comfortable with anything aerially. They are less comfortable with pace and movement. Van Dijk for sure.
And I guess, but what you can also do is you get Sesko, get him to stand on one of the fullbacks and kick towards the touchline. I mean,
yeah.
And then get men around him there. You can also do that, but it'll be interesting to see what Konate and Van Dijk see what make of him physically, to see if he is still able to outjump everyone and get the ball down, because he is bigger than both of them and is stronger than both of them and younger than both of them. So it's possible. Yeah,
and the direct ball in behind Kerkez for Mbeumo will be pretty effective, I think. I mean, Kerkez is very attacking. Yeah, Kerkesh.
Can. Yeah.
He's very attacking, gets forward a lot. I don't think he's as reliable as Andy Robertson once was. Certainly in terms of his attacking output, but he does leave spaces behind. And Mbeumo sort of naturally is an out-to-in player, and you'd think that would be an option for United. It depends who's with him, and the connectivity. So if it's Ahmad will naturally, as you say, get into similar positions. One goes outside, one goes inside. If it's Diogo Diallo, which is my guess is what Ruben will do, then it just won't be that, right? And it'll end up in a flat back five much more often, which will kind of invite Liverpool to put us under pressure. I hope it's not that. I mean, we played actually, I think, wasn't it one of the early games under Ruben where Mainoo and Ugarte played in central midfield there, and it was was it 0-0? One of his early games. Did pretty well. Not that I'm imagining that will be the midfield pair. I mean, it certainly won't be.
No.
Yeah,
that seems unlikely. But I mean, the thing is also, I was talking about making practical decisions, particularly against Liverpool. The one thing that they can do is they can score goals. And then it just doesn't make sense to use a team that sort of almost invites them on, because they will score. They do have really good attackers. It's not like you would want to invite pressure against them because their attackers are better than our defenders. We need to try and get our attackers against their defenders as much as possible.
Yeah, that is my fear, unfortunately, that in many of these big games, not all of them, many of these big games, Amorim has been a bit conservative. Maybe he'll feel emboldened by a strong performance against Sunderland. Strongish, good enough. Good enough.
It was good. It was good.
We
enough.
didn't have to keep us chuck one in, which is refreshing, Daniel.
Yes,
it's refreshing.
It's very refreshing. I mean, just a bit of competence is just nice. But I mean, let's see. But I totally understood, and I said at the time, I didn't think he was going to play Lemmens against City. I understand why he didn't. By the time it gets to Brentford, it's just fuck off.
Yeah.
Because maybe it's because, well, they put the ball in the mixer, difficult for a keeper to come to. How is he going to learn? The only way he's going to learn, the only way Mainoo's going to learn also is on the job, really. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and I know why. I know what he's going to do with Mainoo, because he's not going to get away. He's not going to be able to sell him, I don't think. In the club, I can't imagine the club would sanction it.
I mean, Laurie Whitwell was saying the club were happy to let him go. So I mean, who knows? I mean, a bid didn't come in. If a bid comes in for Mainoo, if he was available, there would be plenty of clubs that want him. And for a small spaces player playing in a midfield three, he's gonna stand out. Of course, there'll be plenty of clubs that want that kind of technical quality. I don't see a world in which he figures in this team under Ruben Amorim. He's just not doing it. Even if it gets to next summer, right? So the player they wanted, Carlos Baleba, their profiles look a bit similar. They're obviously not the same player, but similar-ish. I don't know if that's the right balance in the midfield too either.
Okay,
right? So if I'm Kobbie, I'm looking, is this manager going to stay or not? Are they going to give him time or not? I'm thinking, I want to get away. So I mean, I'm sure he'll rethink it come January if he's still playing 14 minutes a game.
So let's say that Bruno leaves in the summer. Let's just say and if United could get, and this is massive ifs, but if United could get Wharton and Baleba, would you sell Mainoo?
I mean, no, because I'm looking at managers who come down the line. Because I have zero faith just because we beat Sunderland there.
No, it's nothing to do.
Turn this around.
This isn't even particularly to do with Amorim. I mean, I guess
exactly. So most, like, if you sell Mainoo, you need 3 midfielders to come in, right? So I don't think it solves the problem. Most managers will play 3, a midfield 3 of Wharton, Mainoo, and Baleba, pretty strong, right? So and of different profiles, right? You have the connector in Mainoo, you have the long range pass in Wharton, and you have the all round physicality of Baleba. Good profile of midfielders to play together. So I don't think, unless United are absolutely desperate for money,
which we shouldn't be, really.
I shouldn't have a PSL problem. I mean, it not in Europe will be a problem. It will be a problem financially. So, well, not in at least the Europa is
they do need to get themselves into the Europa. And I think what Amorim doesn't necessarily seem to recognise also is what we were saying earlier about the ifs that don't feel like massive ifs. If Bruno scores those penalties, if we don't have a moron in goal. But at the same time, if the way that you play is on the margins, sometimes the margins are going to go against you. And it doesn't feel like the way that we play is giving us much opportunity to smash teams.
Mm-hmm. It's not, because it's low percentage football a lot of the time, and that direct stuff comes off sometimes doesn't. United's pass rate was down at 77% for this one. I think, as has been much discussed, the non-penalty expected goals per shot is low-ish at 0.11. Top teams are at 0.15 or something. That's a 40% increase. It may seem like a small number on paper, but it is a 40% increase. So playing fairly low percentage football, and if that goes wrong either way in one game, then yeah. Defensively, United at least didn't allow a lot against Sunderland. This season they've been allowing not that many shots of a very high quality, which is definitely not the way to win games, Daniel. So I just don't know. I find it very hard. I don't mean negative. I find it very hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel under Amorim. He makes the same mistakes over and over again, and in his eyes, they're not mistakes. Right? So, and
it's hard to understand what he's waiting for, in the sense that is he just waiting for better players, or is he something that somehow one day the penny's going to drop?
After 11 months and 50 games, the penny's not dropping anymore. At this point.
Maybe it's not a penny. Maybe it's a turd. But it doesn't seem that has occurred.
No. I think he is what he is. We see this now, and he's waiting for better players. So,
But
yep.
it's hard to understand what he thinks about why it's not working in the meantime. It can't just better players. I mean, because you see what other teams are doing, and it's not like this. And maybe there is more greater cultural malaise where the players are traumatized from past disgraces. I mean,
It's pretty much what he suggested when he was talking
see it,
about
see
Cunha and Buma and Maguire, right?
yeah, we see it on the pitch. I mean, yeah, they bit of pressure's applied. They don't like it, but we haven't seen very much improvement with this way of playing, and yet it's everyone's fault but the way of playing.
And I mean, I've said it before. I don't like that. For as much as he has some charisma, I don't like the negativity that he turns to quite quickly. I don't like the fact that he doesn't take responsibility. Everyone else's fault, basically. And Ten Hag got to this point as well. Maybe all managers are just destined to become this at United. I mean, Ollie never got that way. Mourinho definitely did. Turned it all toxic.
Well, he was like that at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, comes in and calls Luke Shaw shit. Luke Shaw shit after about 3 minutes at the club, yeah. But no, there's something about Amorim's body language when it's not going wrong. I don't want to become Paul Scholes here and go, whoa, body language. But the looking away, the crouching, the head in the hands all the time, he's very expressive with his feelings about the team. And then he's too open in press conferences where he does say some stuff about individual players, which I'm not sure would particularly go down well. I don't know. I guess players respond differently to that kind of stuff. Wasn't it? There's that Wayne Rooney anecdote where he says that when Fergie was angry at Nani, he'd shout
Yeah,
at
I think
Rooney.
it's Giggs. Yeah, he shouted. I think it's a Giggs story, but I mean, not sure whether. I mean, not sure that how much you can trust the veracity of a story told by Ryan Giggs.
Yeah, they've all got anecdotes. Yeah. All right, Daniel. Have we run out of things to say? We've got nothing to do over the international break. You're going to be watching international football. You're doing minute by minute on African qualifiers or South American qualifiers. There's some interesting games there.
Yeah, but I'm actually not. I'm off the Guardian this month, actually. We have to take a month off in every 10, so yeah. So this is October is my month off. But I mean, I don't know what we're doing during what anyone's doing during the international break. It's one of those things I don't really want to whine about it, even though I hate it, because international football is something that has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I'll just try and look for some interesting games. I don't know. There's much in the European qualifiers. I was that interested in England. They're going to walk their group. Not particularly strong group. There's probably some South American games I'll catch if I can. Same time zone, so there'll be all of that on. I'll check out some of those. The interesting story in the African qualifiers where South Africa fielded a ineligible player and they've been docked 3 points and they may not qualify, and I think is it Benin who might qualify for the first time. Anyway, there's some interesting stories.
African qualifiers are difficult. The structure of them actually, but Ghana are doing well. It looks like Ghana should get there, and they've got some good players. They
do. FIFA announced some more of their pricing, absolutely eye-watering. So I put in for a whole bunch. Haven't won any of the rounds of the lottery yet because I didn't buy their stupid NFTs, which you had to do to guarantee yourself a ticket. Minimum price is $60. There's almost none of those tickets at any of the stadiums. $60 per person plus tax plus Ticketmaster fees will take it up to nearly $100 in most cases. So do the calculations on the cheapest way to get to a game if you're taking a family. Most of them are not like that because it's dynamic pricing. So you already have World Cup final tickets going at $10,000, $15,000 for a basic ticket.
Well,
FIFA could have it was all about opening up the game and growing the game, and it's actually been about rinsing fans for as much as possible.
And they just don't even need the money. FIFA would.
They claim it's to develop the global game, and so FIFA's structure is that they pull in all this money every 4 years, and I guess it's every 2 now with the Club World Cup in alternate years, although they gave away almost all of that $1 billion of Saudi PIF money or DAZN broadcast rights to the clubs. for the World Cup, they're going to pull in $12 to $15 billion, something like that for this one. And then it's distributed in these payments which just look like pure corruption, mafioso style. You'll vote for me if I give you this money type thing. It's very odd. Just, yeah. I can't see it as being good for the global game. Anyway, anyone who's coming to the World Cup, expect to pay an extraordinarily large amount of money. And if you want to stay in Seattle, if I didn't get any tickets, I'll be renting my house out for an extraordinary large amount of money too.
Do it.
So, all right, we'll leave it there. Dan, thanks a lot.
All right, guys, thank you.
Everyone else, check us out at patreon.com/NQAT pod for our extra pod, or Substack, NQATpod.substack.com. I try and write something. On the socials, Daniel is Daniel Harris at Blue Sky.
Please like us on YouTube and subscribe.
Yeah, hit the subscribe button on YouTube so I don't have to keep chasing you every week.
Pound the subscribe button.
And comment. Call us cunts like you normally do. Thank you very much. All right, bye now.
It's all right.